Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the Insider Extreme audience, as well as the audience here at the Nokia Theater. We're in Times Square, Manhattan, New York City, and we have a sold-out crowd here. And what's really interesting is that people have come to see Glenn Beck. And Glenn Beck is putting on the Future of History show. We sold out this show in Huffington Post territory, to be quite honest, so it's really kind of strange. What you're going to see tonight, and it's coming to you Insider Extreme members only, as well as the people in the theater, you're going to see, first of all, Steven Crowder, comedian. He's going to open up the show for Glenn. Glenn really likes Steven. Glenn's going to come out and do his Future of History, which is really just 60 minutes of Glenn weeping. He's going to weep for 60 solid minutes. We're all going to rise up in a sea of tears, float out of the doors and down Broadway. It's going to be a spectacle. After that, there will be an intermission with some funny stuff in it. And then coming back, we're going to have Scott Baker. He's from Breitbart.tv, and he's going to do a little interview with Glenn, an exclusive interview just for you, and then a question and answer session between you and the audience here. So it's going to be a great evening. But first, we thought, since you're an insider and you get some extra bonus stuff, we put together a little tour of the Glenn Beck studio offices here in Midtown Manhattan that we thought you'd like to enjoy. So somebody in a van out on the street with a satellite that's going to broadcast this stuff is going to press a button, and you're going to see behind the scenes of the Glenn Beck offices.
Okay, so we've passed through 7 layers of security to get here. And this is the main office for Mercury Radio Arts, Glenn's company. And it pretty much holds all of Glenn's organizations in this one area here. This is a TV wired into glennbeck.tv. That's what's going out over the Insider Extreme at this very moment. They're both looking at stuff. Let's go see the most important part of the office, of course, the break room. Glenn takes care of his people. He buys them free coffee, all the coffee they can drink. In fact, that's how he pays us. This is a sculpture somebody sent in. And they designed it, made it themselves. It's made out of paper. And it's got Glenn reading the paper and blood shooting out of his eyes. See? And you get all sorts of stuff sent to the show. Like this feels soft and squishy. Maybe that's a sponge. Over here, we've got some books sent in by publishers. Now, these books are sent in the hopes that Glenn will talk about them on the air and, of course, create another bestseller out of one of these authors. But these books are in the break room for some reason. This is a manifesto of change. This is definitely a DVD. I can feel the DVD in there. Love letters, most likely, from a gunnery sergeant in the Marine Corps. It's in a mobile washer box, so it could be a mobile washer, or it could be a Viper. Pictures of Glenn unable to eat cake. See, it's funny, because he wants cake. Oh, he got the cake. He got it at the end. Good for him. All around the office, Glenn has put up photographs of the broadcasters who, over his lifetime, have inspired him. Kelsey Grammer, George Clooney, Regis Philbin, Stu Bergier, and of course, the great Pee Wee Herman. Wooden grandfather clock. I'm afraid to touch it. And it's really pretty. Not exactly telling the right time, from what I can tell, but that's what you get when you build a wood clock. And this here is a folder full of requests for autographed photos that come through the mail and through email. And as you can see, that's just maybe a day or so. I don't know. He's very popular. My folder is much thinner. Now, I'm standing outside of the office of Carolyn Polk, who is the internet czar for Glenn Beck. And one of the ways you can tell that she's really high up on the hierarchy is that she's got her own Post-it note outside the door with her name on it. And you only get that if you've been here. How long have you been here?
4 years.
4 years. And Carolyn's in charge of the internet. Not the whole internet, just the glennbeck.com part of it?
For now, yes.
For now. Do you log on to websites and post comments favorable to Glenn?
Exactly. Making sure the entire internet only says positive things about Glenn. So I think I'm doing a pretty good job.
Good job. This is Glenn Beck's desk and chair that I'm sitting in. And of course, with success comes multiples. Glenn, very successful. He has 3 monitors over here. Glenn has 3 microphones, 2 telephones, the must-have rockets. And of course, you have the M&M dispenser, very Art Deco M&M dispenser. And I'm gonna just... He actually wants me to pay for these things. Now, anybody who's watched the show knows that Glenn loves a good blackboard. And that carries itself over into his office here, where he actually draws on glass surfaces. And as you can see here, he's doing something about truth, education, honesty, self-discipline, self-reliance, willingness to stand. How to the strip club. Strip club. Glenn has a very fancy clock. This is the Christmas sweater in Spanish, El Mejor Regalo. This is the Christmas sweater in Korean. This is the Christmas sweater in Japanese. Do they even have Christmas over there? This is the Christmas sweater in Polish, and I brought this actually back from Poland when I was there and saw it. And this is the Christmas sweater in Italian, it looks like. My goodness. One of the reasons why Glenn's Christmas sweater is a bestseller is because he bought most of the copies himself and actually stores them here. All the phone calls to the Glenn Beck program come through this computer, and Keith decides who's going to get through, who gets priority, who gets dropped. There's actually a button that says drop. If you really want to get in, just when you call, just say, "Hi, Keith," and that'll kind of freak him out.
It will.
And Keith's call center room has a keyboard in it for whatever reason. I guess when he gets bored, he can just play chopsticks. And of course, Christmas decorations. And it's, what? March? So what we're going to do is we're going to pop in here and just say hi to Glenn and see what's going on.
You think you're going to pass?
And first of all, this is where the show takes place. This is Glenn's desk here. He's got the microphones. He's got Pat in the background.
We're like on the air? Hi, Brian.
Hi, Glenn. But
Hi.
the on
Can you
air.
stop by my office maybe around 5 this afternoon and bring the pictures off your desk?
What?
Will you?
The on-air light was not on.
What?
The on-air light wasn't on.
Get out!
What? The on-air light was not
We're
on.
the air. Move.
What?
Move.
Are you using mercury
Move.
bulbs on that thing? It wasn't on.
Move.
It wasn't on.
What?
No. Don't be mad.
Close the door.
I have kids.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah. Unemployment line. See you at 5.
This is my office. This is mine. It's not as nice as Glenn's, but you know, working on it. I managed to smooth things out with Glenn. He is no longer mad at me. I am no longer fired. This only happens on a daily basis, really. I'm sitting at Glenn's desk. This is the console where all his magic happens. He, as you can see here, has 5 monitors. 5. I don't know why he can't just click through different screens, whatever. He's got 5. Microsoft Word here, or Word pads. This is where the callers, this is where you can see the callers are online. This is a funny squiggle program, Glenn likes that. Of naturally the Drudge Report, because Matt Drudge drives all the news. And over here, email. Got all the emails here, and we got a lot of buttons. There's a button that says God and one that says Satan, and there's one in the middle, maybe that's purgatory. Over here, you've got the monitors. Once again, Fox News there. You got MSNBC. Don't say that Glenn doesn't look at the other side. And down here, CNBC. And then there's, oh, hi, me. Hi, how are you? And I'm going to pull up the daily costs. Just to be a jerk. All right, there you go, Marcos. You got an extra hit, and it's from Glenn. Oh, he's going to love that. Now, this is the Insider Extreme console area. This is all the stuff that comes through here goes out to the internet, and this is the epicenter of that. We've got 5 monitors that control what's going on in the studio. You can see all the different cameras in there, and I think this joystick actually, oh, look at that, the joystick moves the cameras. That's really fun. And then this stuff, you can make stuff fade and dissolve, and this is the stuff that goes.
We are back live, and we are streaming to a van on the middle of the street that's going up to a satellite that's coming down to a computer server and sending this out over the Insider Extreme network. It's pretty amazing, and I'm with Steven Crowder. Steven is going to be opening the show tonight for Glenn. Glenn is a big fan of Steven. Steven is a comedian. He's a commentator. He is a blogger, a writer, an actor, voiceover.
It's not true. Glenn hates me.
Lot of fingers and pies and hats on heads and things. Steven, now you've done a lot of YouTube stuff, right? And
This is true.
that has gotten you noticed.
Right.
And a lot of political stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's YouTube. You got millions of hits on YouTube. Have you ever performed for a crowd this large before?
Yeah, a few times when I did the Just for Laughs festival in Montreal. I think this is going to be a more fun crowd, though, because they're primed and ready to laugh, and I don't have to worry about offending somebody by making a joke about silly hippies.
That's right. You've got a very friendly audience here.
Right.
They have braved Manhattan to come to the Nokia Theater, see Glenn Beck. So you opened for Glenn Beck.
Right.
And now you're kind of a Canadian American, I've been told. Yes.
I was raised in Montreal.
Montreal.
Yeah.
You speak French fluently.
That is technically my first language, but it was beaten out of me.
It was beaten out. Well, that'll happen here
That's
in the
how they
States.
do with the French. They just beat them. That's
And
how
the-
you win the fight with the French.
And they throw up the arms and they say sorry.
Yeah.
So, do you want to give us a hint of what's to come this evening?
It will be a mystery. It will be ghost-like. You know, we're just going to have fun,
Okay.
tell a few jokes.
Now, I looked up on Wikipedia,
Right.
and I saw a lot of things, and you're heavily influenced by Gallagher and Rip
Right.
Taylor.
Yes, I
and
smash watermelons, so I hope you all
Carrot
brought
Top.
your ponchos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm very excited for that. What
Carrot Top?
Carrot Top. I
I'm
had to
gonna
make
come
a
out with
carrot.
mouse traps on a bra and have a one-liner.
What's weird is every time somebody makes, I do a video, I make a Carrot Top reference, and I don't know why.
Right.
And they always get edited out. But this
Have
one
you
can't
seen him?
be.
The guy's
He
juicing
scares
to
me.
the max
He's
lately.
got a lot of steroids
You
going
got the
on.
permanent eyeliner,
Yes.
the synthol going.
Yes, it's very scary. Now, tell me something. You've been on a lot of different Fox shows.
Right.
You're a Fox News contributor now.
Yes, sir.
You flew here today, and I believe you were upgraded to first class.
I was.
Glenn takes care of his people.
No, it was an
We're
accident.
talking weird.
There was
Huh?
a couple who wanted to sit next to each other and coach.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And so you actually got boosted up
Yeah,
for
as
that?
a matter of fact, Glenn specifically asked for me to be in the old Silent Films hobo class.
Right.
Where they're just put next to the cargo.
Right.
They said they couldn't do it.
You get to fly. Glenn makes me walk or pedal.
Right.
Or he bought me a Razor scooter years ago.
He made me do horseback once.
Yeah, he's mean.
He's mean.
Very mean to us.
That's why he weeps so much. It's
Yes.
his guilty conscience.
Lot of weeping. He feels bad about what he does to Steven and me. So, are you nervous at all?
I always get nervous before shows.
You have a little routine you do before the show?
I have a routine. It's usually just demeaning others before the show because it makes me feel big.
Okay.
Is what it does. So it's a good thing. If ever in doubt, always be sure to just hurt someone else a little bit. Do something every day to bring their expectations lower.
Okay.
So that way, when you do something good, it's a pleasant surprise.
All right. Well, speaking of surprises, you're on very soon. So I'm going to let you go get ready, take your microphone with you, and
Thank
head on
you,
over
sir.
there. There's some doors. Somebody's going to guide you to the backstage. You're going to stand behind the curtain and get ready to go live. And now joining us is Stu Bergier and Pat Gray. Stu and Pat are, of course, the well-known co-hosts with Glenn on the radio show, and now also they've got an Insider Extreme show. They have an Insider Extreme show called The Fourth Hour. And can you, what is the fourth hour? How is it different from the previous 3 hours?
Well, it's right after the third and it's before the fifth. So we decided to call it the fourth hour.
Okay, so if it were 7 hours into the show, it'd be the 8th hour.
Yes.
No, it would be the fourth hour. We
It
talked
would?
about this.
Okay.
So you were committed to the fourth hour regardless of
Pretty much.
okay.
Yeah.
And would you say your show is a comedy juggernaut compared to Glenn, like a comedy rowboat?
No, we focus mainly on Presidents McKinley, James K. Polk, and Benjamin Harrison.
Fantastic.
And also William Henry Harrison.
Thank you.
Oh, he's one of my favorites, actually. Now, your show, I mean, talk about in the fourth hour that you don't think you'd ever get to on Glenn's previous 3 hours?
No, we pretty much recite word for word what we talked about the previous 3 hours. Don't you find, Stu?
I think
It's
so.
mostly that.
We try to bring some comedy to the forefront. Like, for example, we were told this was going to be a red carpet interview. This carpet isn't red,
Not red carpet.
and that's the sort of the observational stuff that we point out on the fourth hour.
And
It also, Brian, has to be the same time. This isn't special.
well, I just want you to know I wasn't in charge of the carpet actually, and I was quite annoyed because the green room is actually quite pink. If you noticed,
I did notice that. It's actually more of a fuchsia,
so you really know your colors.
pretty much.
That's just another reason why you should watch the fourth hour show, because Stu and Pat know their colors. Stu was on Wikipedia, and I noticed your Stu was kind of like a nickname. Your real name is Slavomir.
Slavomir Blakowski.
And your comedy influences are Charlie Chaplin and French people.
Yes, and of course, there was that one guy I saw that one time.
For me, it's mostly Carrot Top. He's always been my hero, comedically, and we get a lot of good material from Carrot Top.
Good stuff. And prop comedy is really good. Confetti, a lot of your show. Will there be confetti on the fourth hour with Stu and Pat?
Yes, we are 100% confetti every single day. Just make sure you tune in. It's recyclable confetti, though.
And visual puns
Mostly.
for the other extreme audience. Now, we've only got a few more seconds before we wrap things up, but did you come up with a clever tagline to compel people to watch it?
Yes, the fourth hour. It's right after the third and just before the fifth.
And I agree with that analysis.
You heard it here first and probably last. So the fourth hour show, and actually coming up in intermission, there's going to be a little segment. Where I guess we're going to have 15 minutes of entertaining material to give people a kind of like a tease of what to expect in the fourth hour, correct?
Some would call it entertainment, others would call it punishment.
All right, wait, I'm sorry. We're so I'd love to. I've never cut somebody off before, but we are about to go live. The show's about to start. Steven Crowder's about to come through the curtain, and I know I'll just let you say one thing.
Hi, Mom.
Oh, fantastic, because you never get to do that any other time. No. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the show is about to start. Ladies and gentlemen of the Insider Extreme audience, and also here in the Nokia Theater in Midtown Manhattan, Times Square, New York City, please give a big hand for comedian and Fox News contributor Steven Crowder.
Yeah. Yes! Hello, New York! Are you guys ready to have some fun? Oh, come on, you guys have to do better than that. Are you guys ready to have some fun? Obama in 012? I was just checking. Some of you may recognize me from Fox News or from Pajamas TV, and I can see some of you are looking at me like, shouldn't this kid be doing frickin' homework? And I do. I have a project due tomorrow. So, I do live in New York, but was originally raised in Canada. Thank you. Thank you, one sir. We're already starting off with the derogatory comments about my nationality. I appreciate it. I went to New York to make it as a comic. Nothing but the shirt on my back, 3 clean pairs of underwear. Well, 2 after I went through Spanish Harlem. Yeah, I bumped into this guy there. He got mad. He was like, oh, hey, man. Oh, dude, you think you are, okay, I know your kind. I know how your people treat my people. I'm like, whoa, man, I'm from Canada. We don't even have your people. Because you guys got some thugs here in the States, right? I know. I watch MTV. The worst part is, though, in these rap videos, these rappers now, they all wear gold earrings. Like, that's not intimidating to me. Especially my closed doors are really different. Like, yeah, yo, dog, what's going on, bro? I gotta tell you, I like your earrings. Oh my gosh, they're 14 karat. They were super expensive. But, you know, I just had to splurge, right? Because they match perfect with my clock. How about that? Of course, I grew up in high school in Montreal, which was largely Middle Eastern. So you get these Middle Eastern wannabe thugs. You can't pull off the thug look. They'd be like, oh, you know what? I am going to mess you up hardcore. Hey, check out the turban, white boy. I wear my nut on the left side. Yes, that's the crip side. They're cruising down the street for chicks like, it's okay, you can laugh. They're not here to chase you. We're Republicans, we can't laugh, we're too busy tightening our ties. I gotta be honest, the only reason I'm doing this comedy gig is because my job application was declined by Acorn. Yeah. To be fair, I did show up to the job interview dressed as a prostitute. Didn't have a problem with the hooker thing, they just said they were looking to go younger, so. Oh, I'm gonna get letters. Beautiful day. Gorgeous weather out in New York. Yeah. You know what that means? The global warming alarmists are out in flock. Have you been outside? It's sunny and mild in the middle of March. Proof of global warming for you. We had a different word for it as a kid. What was it? Oh yeah, a nice day. I actually had a girl I dated. She was one of those neo-environmentalists. By round of applause, anyone know these people? 4 people, thank you very much. We all know one. They're like, I don't hang out with these people. I don't want Glenn to find me guilty. She came up to me once. She actually goes, oh my God, Steven, driving an SUV is just like killing your child. Yeah, because you're using fossil fuels and destroying the world they have to live in, therefore it's like you're killing them. So I said, okay, by that logic, driving a smart car is like abusing your child. Yeah, because as soon as you drive your kid to school in that stupid-looking thing, my kid's gonna beat the crap out of him. One applause break, and it took violence to get it. Thank you. Survival of the fittest, Johnny. Tell your mom to stop driving such a stupid car. This girl, she was a vegan. Any vegans here? No, that's okay. I expect. She was always. One person claps. You're late, sweetheart. She would get on my case too. She'd be like, oh my God, Steven, you can't, what? You can't eat veal? It's a baby cow. That's mean. I'm like, what, you want to let it grow up, give it false hope? That's cruel. Imagine that day they're taking him to the slaughterhouse. He's like, oh my God, I am stuffed. You guys spoil me, Farmer Brown. Hey, where's this surprise you guys are taking me? Oh, you guys are jerks. I thought we were going to Six Flags. Those weren't flu shots, were they? I should have gone with Ben and Jerry. 2 former hippies caught that one, thank you. Any Tea Party activists here? One guy pumping a fist violently. Cool it, sir. They're just gonna show that one clip on MSNBC. Look at this violence! They want to murder children! He hates babies. I don't know if you watched the CNN coverage of the Tea Parties, but it was criminal. Anderson Cooper had this correspondent, and she's like, you know, Anderson, I'm here at the Tea Parties, but I don't think it's his family doing! There's like a guy with his kid on his shoulder. She's like, this is getting out of control! He's like, ma'am, we're just here to protest higher taxes. And, no, the humanity! Anderson, back to you so you can tell more vulgar teabagging jokes. Thank you. Does that upset you, the teabagging jokes? I actually saw Janine Garofalo and Bill Maher talking about tea parties. That was predictable. I mean, first off, Janine Garofalo, why is she still talking? She looks like the Octomom minus the charm. And Bill Maher goes, you know what I don't understand is why these teabaggers are so angry. Yeah, that's what he does. You're supposed to laugh because he doesn't have any jokes. It's like, really? Bill Maher, you just dismissed an entire group of people by referring to them as nothing more than a vulgar sexual innuendo, and you wonder why they're upset? That'd be like Robert Byrd tossing on his hood outside a 60s civil rights protest, yelling, what's eating the blacks? Oh, come on, he was in the Klan, that's funny. Too soon. No, he was a high-ranking Klansman, okay? He didn't dabble in racism in college. Robert Byrd practically had Klan dental and a company car, folks. He was Klan tenured. Got Joy Behar. Let's talk about her. She's not here. She is, you know, I disagree with some people. She is so mind-numbingly dumb that you can be the violent tea partier. You can be sitting across from her at a table, speaking with her, and not even having the same conversation. Like, yeah, we know these Tea Party protesters are protesting the record debt and passing on this debt to a generation for years to come. Right, just like my ex-husband never washed his feet. What? Bush-lied kids died, whatever. You're insane. Should you seek counseling? We've got Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods, I love him recently. He's claiming immunity. He's going to rehab for sex addiction. You heard of that? By a round of applause? Yeah. Sex Addicts Anonymous, they've showed up, thank you. That's such a cop-out to pass off your responsibility. Oh, it's not my fault. I'm a sex addict. It's like, oh, really, Tiger? You like sleeping with beautiful women? Welcome to the world of being a guy. But no one wants to take responsibility for their action nowadays. It's the same thing, like women, you'll hear them, oh, I can't help it, I'm a shopaholic. No, you just suck with money. Why, I can't help it, I love chocolate, I'm a chocoholic. No, you're fat. My favorite one is people like, oh, I'm a rageaholic. I just can't control my anger. It's a disease now. I'm a rageaholic. We had a different word for it as a kid. What was it? Jerk. Yeah, rageaholic. We've got the ClimateGate thing going on. Anyone following this? Yeah. 2 people. Thank you. You can clap, you know, it's okay if you've heard of it by round of applause, because I can't see you with these shark hunting lights. You heard of it? Yeah. I love Al Gore. The hockey stick grab. Well, I don't love Al Gore. Wait for the punchline. Boo! You mentioned the name that shall not be spoken. Next, he's gonna save Voldemort, this jerk. Al Gore. And the hockey stick graph that he used in An Inconvenient Truth has been proven. It is verifiably false. And he tries to downplay it. He's like, whoa, the graph is incidental, really. Climate change, the science is in. What? That's like my ex-girlfriend grandfather who fought for Hitler always tried to downplay the war. He'd be like, oh, the London Blitzkrieg was nothing. We dropped like 2 bombs. And her mom, too, was German, was always on my case during the Bush era. She'd be like, oh, you Americans, you're so stupid because you blindly follow that evil dictator of a president, George Bush. I'm like, woman, you're German. How many world wars do you have under your belt now? Oh, yeah, all of them? Lies! They never happened. Talk about a black dot in your history, the Holocaust. I guess we all have them. They have the Holocaust, we have slavery, the Mexicans with the Macarena, I guess. Yeah. Oh. Obama recently talked about the healthcare plan. Okay. I'm not him. Boo! First he says Al Gore, now he says Obama. I don't like this kid. He went on the road to talk about how he's no longer going to talk about healthcare. And he said, I'm not kidding, he actually said, my plan will reduce premiums for employers by 3,000%. Yeah, 3,000%. Yeah, interestingly enough, though, most amazing, he said he was going to do that across all 57 states. So it's pretty, yeah. And Joe Biden chimed in and said he'd reduce it by 5,000%, specifically for employees of Amy's Diner. So, yeah. I know who's going to make Keith Olbermann's list tomorrow. Oh, the abhorrent conservative cretin performed with Glenn Beck. Steven Crowder is the worst person in the world. And the Rachel Maddow just comes in. Yeah, I agree with you, Keith. Yeah. I don't like to get my news from a lady who sounds like Seth Rogen. Maybe it's just... First I'm gonna distort the news and go smoke some weed. I mean, I don't want to say that mainstream media has a torrid love affair with this president or that Brian Williams wants to be his girlfriend. But during that interview, I did find it disconcerting when I heard Obama mutter under his breath, Brian, if you love me, you'll go all the way. Yeah. He said it, not me. Brian, if you love me, you'll go all the way. National security? Who here still believes in a strong national security? Oh. You racists. I bet you also hate gay people. They're going to take that soundbite on MSNBC. Media Matters is going to fact check that. Media Matters is going to fact check this whole act tomorrow. They did that at CPAC. The Klan never gave out company cars. Is this factually inaccurate? Please, someone be my girlfriend, Match.com. Media Matters. God. It's a little disconcerting what's going on with Keith Olbermann. I honestly think that Al Gore, too, he's just become the glorified mascot for the Green Movement. Yeah. I'm actually convinced they didn't have budget for a costume. They just picked the nearest guy with a disproportionately large head. Olbermann's not available? Gore, you're our guy. Yeah. That works for us. Does anyone here actually have any kids? Any chance? Okay, that gives me a better idea of what's going on here. I miss being a kid. I miss being a kid when you didn't have to worry about all these politics. You know, when you were a kid, it was Halloween was the exemplary time during kidhood. Childhood. I guess I can't say kidhood. I'll get fact checked on that. That's not a word. The thing is, though, Halloween was really a parents' holiday, disguised like it's for kids. Like, I saw this woman trick-or-treating with her daughter this year. Her little girl, 2 years old, dressed up as a devil. See, that's a parental decision. No 2-year-old girl's like, yeah, Mom, this year for Halloween, I was thinking I'd dress up as Satan. Or little boys, you have running around now dressed up as M&Ms. See, that's a parental decision. No little boy wants to be an M&M for Halloween. He's not sitting around with his buddies like, yeah, I'm gonna be Superman and I'm gonna save the world and I'm gonna be a firefighter. I'm gonna rescue people from burning buildings and I'm gonna melt in your mouth. I don't know. You have to worry about everything. You have to worry about terrorists blowing up their crotch on planes. The Detroit fire crotch bomber. I mean, despite obviously the national security issues, what I want to know is, of all the places to blow up, really? Detroit? Like, yeah, we're gonna hit America where it hurts, blow up a Bob's Big Boy, a couple of crack houses. I think honestly he was new to the terrorism game and the other terrorists were just hazing him. Yeah. They're like, no, you are going to blow up Detroit. It's very important. He's going to do it. He's going to. Yeah. Oh, no, this is very important. One more thing. The bomb has to go right next to Wiener. That's the one thing. Allah's rules, not mine. I don't make them, I just call them, okay? Anyone watch those Olympics? 4 Canadians, thank you. No one knows anything about Canada. They just show up every 4 years for the Winter Olympics, go back to a life of hard beer and clear cutting. The Olympics, what I know is the biathlon. Who thought this up? They're sitting in a meeting, okay, Winter Olympics, we need some ideas for sports. How about skiing? Can you throw some guns in there? Yeah, that'll work. No, guns and skiing, that's not an accident waiting to happen. Not to mention, if I'm in second place, I'm just picking off first. Oh, I'm losing. Gold medal, thank you. Thank you. They actually had to take away a gold medal from one of the athletes for using steroids. Yeah. His event, the luge. Steroids for the luge? Really? What was this guy thinking? He's like, all right, coach, eye the tiger, baby. Woo! Woo! Let's do this. Steroids for the luge. What's next? Curling? Could you imagine a curler on roid rage? Sweep! Don't tell me what to do! I was raised in Canada. I talked about that earlier. Thank you. You know, Canadians, there's a lot of anti-American sentiment in Canada. Yeah, exactly. Nobody here cares. They think we're sitting around genuinely like, I hope the Canadians like us. And when you think about it, really, the United States is like the quarterback of the world, and Canada is kind of like our retarded cheerleader. Rahm Emanuel said it, not me, okay? I mean, they're like, hey, America, America, he's our man. If he can't do it, well, then we surrender, eh? France is just like, hey, you guys, I heard they would surrender. Me too. French soldiers, the only soldiers who go into battle with a standard issue individual white flag right in their belt. Little Acme pop gun that pow, white flag comes out, that was the French. Yeah. But I hear liberals all the time. They're like, well, I hear you got a great Medicare plan in Canada. You know, you hear these liberals all the time in the States. I don't know if you hear them like, well, what I don't understand is why drugs are so expensive. I don't think that I should have to pay that much money for my drugs. No, because it's not like drugs cost money to make. They come from a magical land of chocolate rivers and midgets on tricycles. A land where Nancy Pelosi and Al Gore spin recycled trash into golden yarn and insulin shots. Here's the way I look at it. If Richard Simmons can make hundreds of millions of dollars from Dance Your Pants Off Volume 4, the guy who gave us the polio vaccine deserves some loose change. Now people are saying the biggest problem in America is obesity. Americans are fat. They're fat. Really, that's the biggest problem? Is overabundance? Try explaining that to some famine victim in Zambia. They'll be like, what? What? This is your biggest problem? That you have too much to eat? I tell you what, send your fatties over here. We'll take care of them for you. Rosie O'Donnell alone could feed a family of 24. Keith Olbermann's head could sustain an entire village for 4 years. Thank you very much, everybody. I'm Steven Crowder. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Today, the resistance stands strong.
We coming through. Without debate, no republic can survive.
Search for answers everywhere. We will be the key.
It's a revolution.
We will be heard.
Revolution.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on Earth.
What you're about to hear
is the fusion.
Communication, a medium of entertainment.
Listen carefully, ladies and gentlemen.
And
this is the last stand.
Enlightenment.
To make our own destiny.
This is the Glenn Beck Program.
The arch nemesis of Woodrow Wilson, the pasty patriot, and the original insider extremist, the one and only Glenn Beck!
Pasty patriot? This is what I get? How are you? Welcome. Please sit down, sit down, sit down. Thank you so much for coming. Welcome to the inaugural broadcast of the Insider Extreme. We're glad you're there at home, and we're glad to be here with you tonight in New York City. I have to tell you, we were just talking backstage, and we're seeing the thousands of people that are streaming now and watching this live all over the planet, and I said, you know what? This is a little bit like television was back in the 1950s. When, you know, you got all dressed up and you did a show and then nobody really watched. But it wasn't too much longer after Milton Berle was out on the stage and he did his routines that millions of people joined and millions of people started watching, and there was a new generation that came about away from radio and to television. And I bring you tonight to this occasion because we're launching something that I think is going to be part of a paradigm shift. I think we're moving into a new world. I've been telling you for a while that everything is about to change. The paradigm is about to change. And we, yes, there's change. We're at a crossroads in history. You know it and I know it, that you can feel it. I think no matter what political spectrum, what side of the political spectrum you're on, you feel that things are changing, and we're at a moment, a crossroads in history. And we have to decide now together, not from Washington. That's why the healthcare debate feels wrong, because we haven't been part of the debate. It's been with the unions and the special interests, and if it was with the pharmaceuticals and the big companies under Bush, it would have been wrong as well. Now it's all special interest. It doesn't seem to matter. That's why it's wrong, because we're not involved. And that's what has to change now. America has become a place that changed the world because it was a place where the individual mattered, where we decided, where we chose our own destiny. We didn't necessarily choose the same destiny for everybody, but we changed our direction. We could do anything. The Constitutional Convention back in Philadelphia, all of the founders gathered together. George Washington didn't want to go. When they finally knocked on his door, he was a farmer again. He had already served his country. When they asked him and said, George, the whole thing's falling apart. General, please, we need you. You're the only one that everybody trusts. Please, come back to Philadelphia. He first said no. He said, one of the saddest quotes I've ever heard. He said, have I not done enough for my country yet? He just wanted to be a farmer, and he had served his whole life, spent his whole life in the service of his country. He said, no, I won't go. They said, if you don't come, everything we worked for is gone. He came. So did Ben Franklin. Ben Franklin was very old at this time. In fact, he had, I think it was kidney stones at the time, and he was in so much pain, he was taking opium every day. He tried to stay away from it because he hated what it did to his mind. But he was in so much pain, he couldn't actually walk to Independence Hall. He couldn't stand his feet on the cobblestones because every time he stepped on the cobblestones, it hurt so deeply, and he didn't want to go to the convention on opium. So he had 4 prisoners from the local jail, and they carried him in a chair. Now, I don't know if those prisoners were from Guantanamo or if they had been read their rights. You have a right not to carry the big fat man in a chair. I don't know if that had happened. But he went. And George Washington sat there in front at the Constitutional Convention, and he didn't say very much. He didn't have to. It was his presence that really moderated everything. And there the old man in pain sat in the back of the room. And he watched George Washington, and after not too long, he became fascinated by the back of the chair that George was sitting in. The general was sitting in a chair where the back of the chair had rays of sun and a half of a sun. It was either a setting sun or a rising sun. And during the entire convention, he sat there and he just watched the general and he stared at that chair. Finally, when the Constitution was done, he felt compelled to speak, and he said, I've wondered this whole time if that sun on that chair was setting or rising. But now that I see the miracle that has happened here, I feel that I can firmly state that that is a rising sun. He had hope for tomorrow. What has happened to us now is we have fundamentally changed already. We have already started to look at things, and we're now just trying to hang on. Just hang on, hang on. We are a country that is hanging by our fingernails. Just hold on, don't let go, don't let go. That's not what America is or has ever been. We have never been a people that just hang on. That puts us in a setting sun mode. Tonight I want you to ask yourself, is that sun on America rising or is that sun setting? We've had trouble before, but it's always been the individual that changed it. I'm the luckiest guy in the world. When I was a kid, I wanted to work at Radio City. I wanted to have studios in Radio City. I grew up in just north of Seattle. I don't even know how I knew Rockefeller Plaza. But I wanted to work in Radio City. I wanted to live in New York. I was 8. I didn't know any better. I've always been fascinated by New York. I've always been fascinated by the history of New York. New York, I have the same thing that happens, really, to Ben Franklin every day. I'm so lucky I have a corner office not too far away from here, and I'm way up in one of the high rises. And on one corner window, I look at this building, the Chrysler building, just an incredible, incredible building. I've had this for years before I moved to New York. This, of course, the Empire State Building. I look at the Chrysler building out of one window, the Empire State Building in another, and just at the end of my hall, I see Times Square. And I can't tell you how many days we put the TV and radio show together in my office, and everybody leaves. And I look at those two buildings, which to me represent an age where America was still moving forward. They weren't hanging by the thread, they were dreaming. And I look at those and I think, is that the best we'll ever do? Is it a rising sun or is it a setting sun? The Chrysler building provides for me all kinds of inspiration. Every day, every morning, the sun rises over that building and I watch it rise. It is so beautiful in the morning because this turns all pink and orange. And then because there are ribbons, metal ribbons that run down this building, it catches the sunlight. And I watch it every single morning and I am inspired by these buildings. But I am inspired really by the people who built these buildings. The Chrysler building was built at a time where skyscrapers were unheard of. Nobody had built a skyscraper before. The tallest building in the world was the Eiffel Tower. Could we build anything bigger than the Eiffel Tower, especially a building? Could it be done? Well, there were two men and two buildings at the same time that wanted to make the tallest building in the world. It's one of my favorite stories of the Chrysler building. And the other building is the Bank of Manhattan Trust building. I don't know much about that building. I just know that it was the tallest building in the world for one day. And here's why. This building was actually finished before the Manhattan Trust building. This building was finished, but there was no needle on top. There was a flag. They waited, they put the flag on and announced that the Chrysler building was done. Then the Manhattan Trust building added a couple floors to be able to beat the Chrysler building, put their flag on it, and that's when it's been described as people walking down the street looking at the Chrysler building and stopping for hours to watch a giant needle slowly come out of the top of the Chrysler building. It was built inside the building so the competitor wouldn't know. And when the time was right, when Manhattan Trust said, "We are done," and they had their pictures taken for the newspaper for that one day, that's when Mr. Chrysler said, "Crank her up." And the needle came out of the top. It's an amazing story. This building happened near the same time. When they built this building, it was actually, I think, only supposed to be about this tall. But the joke was, you couldn't build it this tall. You couldn't build it just a couple of floors bigger than the Chrysler building, because the joke was, and they were half serious, we don't know if there's more needle in this building. So first,